Feel the rhythm of the streets, neon lights and neon dreams. Bloody face, they feel no pain when there's so much more to gain. Hunting season, if you will, tell me where'd you rather be? I can hardly see the moon, but we'll get there pretty soon. Trying so hard to release you out of the misery. Hold on to your wishes if you can't hold on to me. Forgive me for letting you down. Forgive me for letting you down again. I guess I'm not strong enough right now.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your T-shirted historian, and we are live with the Week in Geek. How is everybody doing today?
Hello.
Oh, I wasn't actually expecting us to actually start. I was surprised we didn't go another 4 minutes for the theme song.
No. Kept it a little bit shorter. I may or may not keep this intro. I really fell in love with the song and the graphics, and you know, I'm very much in love with the Edgerunners. I'm very, very happy with it. So had to do something Edgerunners related.
I love the new intro. But what song is it?
Let me see. Hang on. I've forgotten actually.
Love the song.
I have to look it up.
Another tune to add to the playlist.
Another tune to add to the playlist. Well, that's the thing. You can't download it anywhere, so I actually had to rip it in order to do it. But
really, it's not even on Spotify.
Yeah, it came through copyright free. So.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so I guess it's okay. I mean, it's like most of anything that's you know. That's a cyberpunker.
It's very dramatic.
Also chill at the same time.
Yeah, it is chill. Well, the hell? It's like, okay, I'm not finding it.
Seems like one of those songs you just kick out the lawn chair and like you see the sunset, open a cold brew.
Yeah, well, it's the
Watch the
ending
world go
theme.
by.
It's the ending theme to Edgerunners.
Yeah, I binged through that. Like I finished it like about 40 minutes ago, and now I want to cry.
That's amazing.
That show got me in the feels, man.
Okay, it's called "Let You Down" by Dawid Podsiadlo. I think I messed that name up really badly. I can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce it. I don't know. Here, I'll just. He did a couple of other tracks on the video game too, and I'll just post it up right here.
Yeah, I'm only about 2 episodes into it, so I have at least started it.
You have at least started it.
Yep.
Okay. Well then. I think I've already made it clear what I think about it. Just to kind of reiterate, I thought it was pretty amazing from start to finish. I thought it captured the cyberpunk feel really well. I wasn't saying about the animation in every single thing. There were a few things I kind of thought, oh, why did they do this? But overall, I love the fact that they reference Night City so much in anime, and that literally you could walk around in Night City and you could see all the spots in the anime that are in there because that was a deliberate choice on their part.
I'm glad they did that.
I am too. I think that brings a lot more replayability back to the game because now you're looking back going, oh, where was this spot? Where was that spot?
Oh, I distinctly remember watching the anime and her like, I recognize this road. I've driven down here.
Oh yeah. Well, like Rebecca's apartment is in the city. Somebody's actually found it, and that's the thing. People are hunting down all the references from the show in the game.
Yeah.
Of course, the Guts shotgun that she uses is in the game. Somebody has already built David's build with the Sandevistan and the gorilla arms and everything, and it ends up being like a really overpowered build because you're super duper fast and you can beat the shit out of people with the gorilla arms, which
Oh yeah.
the gorilla arms was actually always my favorite anyway.
I preferred the one with the shot in it, the cannon in your arm.
That's
I don't know what it was called.
yeah. That's actually that's the one that Maine has equipped in the show.
Right.
It looks like he has gorilla arms most of the time.
Do you remember close to release of Cyberpunk 2077 when you had that cannon installed and you put stun shots? It just one-shotted everything in the game.
Yeah, because it was kind of broken.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember
Whenever
that.
I played, I actually went pretty low tech for some reason. I never used much cybernetics. I just relied on big guns and stuff.
We are talking about Cyberpunk Edgerunners up on Netflix. If you have not seen it yet, you absolutely should. That's kind of our hot topic for tonight. And I guess I probably need to share this video so that we can start talking about it.
Yes,
Well, that's because
I only watched the final episode.
I'm going to say, we're going to talk about that because the alternative is talking about more
Complex again.
Oh,
Yeah.
It does have those vibes. Hang on a second. Let me pull back so we can actually talk about all the characters. All right, so this is David, right? And he's the main character of the story. I kind of like his progression from when he's basically like a nobody, just a school kid, and then by the end of the show, he's just all super duper jacked up and cyber psychoed out and everything.
Yeah.
I thought his character arc was pretty cool overall. I don't know what you guys think.
I agree.
I
It was
like
a very good character development.
And And Castro, I know you've only seen the first 2 episodes, so yeah. By the way, guys, if you haven't seen Edgerunners yet out there in the audience, yeah, we're gonna spoil the hell out of it. So I do apologize, but I've been so excited to talk about this all week because it's just, I sat down to watch this thing and I decided I was not gonna binge it. I just said, okay, we're gonna watch each show start to finish, one at a time, and just really kind of absorb everyone because it seems like it's just too tasty not to just binge watch, I guess the difference between, binge watching and sitting down and just trying to absorb a show is like the difference between going out and eating a nice Italian dinner or eating a can of SpaghettiOs out of the can cold. Which I've done that.
Yeah, I haven't really binge watched anything in a while. I haven't seen Lord of the Rings. I haven't even seen the new Game of Thrones.
I haven't seen that either.
I'm in the same boat with you there. I haven't seen either one of them.
I've seen them both. I must be the only person who's like trying to watch everything. And maybe my sanity is suffering for it. But we talk about a lot of stuff in kind of a negative connotation, as far as what's coming out in our pop culture, fandoms. That's why I was really happy that Edgerunners was good, because it could have easily been trash. We've seen bad anime, we've seen bad Netflix, this, that, and the other that was just not good. But it seems like anime-wise, Netflix is doing pretty solid. Tekken Bloodline was really good. It wasn't exactly perfect to the game in all respects, but it paid a lot of homage to it in a lot of different areas. Like, I caught myself literally naming off moves and combinations as we were watching them on the screen. And my friend kept saying, "Why do you keep doing that?" And I said, "Because I've played this game so many times. I know that combo. I know the name of that combo." But
yeah, there's been some pretty good anime on Netflix. Like I remember they really started doing like solid anime when that Devilman show came out. You guys ever watch that?
Yeah.
I did. Crybaby?
Yeah, that's when they really started ramping it up. Everyone keeps telling me to watch Godzilla Singular Point. I hear that's supposed to be good too. It's like a Godzilla, like super high tech, like futuristic time travel story with weird like interdimensional themes and stuff like that.
Violence says, from the 3 episodes I've seen, I'm not impressed. I'm not a big fan of the setting of Artels or in Cyberpunk. Okay, well, I mean, that's fair if you don't like the setting. It's understandable because, I mean, dystopias is like you kind of have to buy into them. I mean, it's horrifyingly enough, I think that where we're headed with our particular dystopia, Mike Pondsmith actually managed to predict it pretty accurately.
I saw that
say more about that later. Yeah. You saw the quote I put out earlier, yeah. And that is from one of the Cyberpunk 2020 books. Which one, I'm not sure yet, but it is.
The one about diversity and unity?
Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't written by Pondsmith either.
No, was it not? Who wrote it?
Whoever wrote that particular book wrote that.
Oh, okay. Well, they were right. Everybody's attributing it to Big Mike, but I guess it wasn't. Violence says he's not fond of the class system used in the RPGs. Okay. You talking about Red or 2020 or just all of them in general? I don't see anything wrong with the class systems, but as far as the RPGs go, I can kind of see why they're still using a class system, because that class is basically a niche. So it gives players something to play and kind of makes them feel special. So, you need your solos to, be the big guns that can mow down people, and you need your net runners to be able to hack, and your fixers to run the contracts, and your med techies and all that to patch people up. So yeah, there's everyone has their thing that they can do because it's supposed to be team oriented. I kind of wish Grim was here because he could elaborate on this a little bit more. He's played Red, and I haven't. I have Red, but I haven't really studied Red enough to be able to comment on whether it's good or bad. But everything that Grim has told me about it is it's inferior to 2020 in a lot of ways, with cars being made out of paper, basically, and people being made out of adamantium.
Yeah.
Because they're bullet sponges. And I kind of wonder if some of those changes were not implemented because of the Cyberpunk 2077 video game, because some of the characters in that, it's like you'll just sit there and shoot them and shoot them and shoot them and shoot them and shoot them, and they won't go down, until you've emptied 2 or 3 clips into them. Mm-hmm. I'm noticing that more and more after they patched it. But one of the biggest things I did not like about 2020 was any time that you had netrunners and they had to go and jump into the net, it was kind of like, okay, everybody go take a smoke break. I have to go run this. I have to go run the netrunner through the netrunners thing. And, like half an hour to an hour later, everybody can come back in and, okay, well, did you get the info? Yeah, I did. It's like that was a core design mechanic that I never understood how Pondsmith could have let that go, because it was kind of like, what was the intention behind this? Were you just intending for everybody to go out and go grab hamburgers or something and then come back when the netrunner was done? Because this was the days before cell phones. So.
Yeah, Shadowrun had the same issue basically. Like whenever my friend always wanted to hack everything, and I'd be like, "Well, here we go. See you guys in 40 minutes."
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. The netrunner issue is a common issue with all Cyberpunk type games. Yeah, and I don't know any quick skill resolution for that. I mean, I guess the easiest thing to do is, you handle it like Carbon did, and just make it a quick little skill check. Either you hack it or you don't, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it should be.
That's what it should be. But instead, they turned it into a little miniature game of its own. And
the way I'm handling it in one of my upcoming books is that the hacker character can basically pull everyone into cyberspace, and then you just do a dungeon crawl, like a virtual dungeon crawl, basically.
See, that would be fun. Even, hey Mac, your connection looks better. Say something. Okay, I guess he's not gonna.
Good talk, Mac. Good talk.
Yeah, good talk, Mac. Yeah. Passerby says, if you don't like Cyberpunk at all, you do not like Edgerunners. Well, yeah, that's true. If you don't like Cyberpunk, then you're not gonna like Edgerunners. You won't like Ghost in the Shell. Exactly. The accuracy of this prediction for the future may be part of the issue I have with the setting. Yeah, well, it's kind of true.
That is true about the not liking Cyberpunk, because I just don't give a shit about the show.
2020 has classes where each class has one skill no one else can learn, and that is the only thing that makes the class be its thing. Nah, that's poor design choice. I'm not sure how Red handles it better, but if you're going to go with more skill-based system, you should have class-restricted skills. Yeah.
Or I would say even a limit to how far you can go with the skill. Yeah, I think that would probably be a better approach to do. On a scale 1 to 10, if there's a certain skill you can only go to a 2 or a 3 in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're not that class, a soldier can go to a 5 in sniping, and a thief can only go up to a 3 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Carbon 2185, which is using 5th edition as a framework, but it's a complete Cyberpunk game all on its own. Handles it a little bit better as far as their classes go. A lot of their classes have a stronger niche protection, but yeah, I could see that. Oh yeah, there you go. Works really well if you have the group hire a netrunner decker to do the hacking in advance. Then you can have that done as a separate session. Yeah, and even the 2077 video game kind of was that way too, because in the early missions, it was you and Jackie doing everything, and Jackie was kind of your tanky solo person, and you had T-Bug running all your net running behind the scenes.
Right.
In the GM handbook, they literally say go order a pizza. Yeah, no kidding.
Oh my goodness.
That's a bad choice. Worked really well in college. We had multiple GMs running multiple GMs. Yeah, well, I've never had that, really. And
can hear McKinney now, though.
Yeah. Hey, Mac.
Hey, guys. Sorry about that. If I have to step away, it's probably because I thought I'd be off, but apparently I'm dealing with an issue in my job. So if I step away, that means I have to take a call.
Uh-oh.
But
So you're
I am
like
here.
Half in, half out?
Yeah, half in, half out. I'm just going to be on call. I'll just turn my mic off, so don't worry.
Well, at least you made it. Arwen said she was going to make it, and she hadn't. So,
right.
I guess something must have come up with her, but that's okay.
That
We
makes
still
you
love
cooler.
her. Yeah.
Right.
Multiple GMs running multiple groups sharing the same player pool almost sounds like patron play, the D&D.
Oh no!
Yeah, but that
I will
makes
say that
Broasar.
Just hate.
I will say that with Edgerunners, it just sounds like it's really good. It just doesn't hit. But coming from you guys, it sounds like it doesn't hit that. It doesn't hit that. It doesn't hit that. It doesn't hit that level of. It doesn't hit that level of emotion that a lot of people got with Arcane.
Well, Arcane is the better show.
Yeah, Arcane was like a weird gem in like a pile of shit.
Arcane had no right being as good as it did, considering it came from Netflix and Riot Games.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, maybe I'm the standout, but
no,
I really like the Edgerunners.
I know a lot of I know the characters in there, such as Rebecca, is getting a lot of love right now. So,
Violence. We just got to get you on the panel one of these days because you always have a lot to say, and it's usually really something good to say. Anyone planning to run Cyberpunk Shadowrun today is find one or two other GMs for online play. You'll run all your game the same night and time. You have one dedicated player. Yeah. It's kind of sad.
Just specify the question for me too, apparently.
Which one? Do you give other players the roles of programs in your hacker dungeon crawl?
No, not really, but that actually sounds really interesting. I kind of like that idea. I might have to think on that some. It's like you're the firewall breacher, and it's just like the fighter basically.
The rest of the players all make characters they want. You give your dedicated player the mission in advance with a budget. Well,
that's what it sounds like.
Well, kind of like one thing I really liked about the video game that translates pretty well to the TTRPGs is the fact that since you can approach the missions several different ways, you can go in stealthy.
Oh, yeah.
You can hack your way in. You can, you have so many different ways to approach a mission, and it's kind of like, okay, just apply that to your video game or to your regular TTRPGs too. Players don't necessarily have to go in guns blazing.
That structure, how they did the missions, is one thing I really liked about Cyberpunk. Was that you could go stealth, you could go, guns blazing and such. And I usually tend to kind of prefer the stealth approach. In fact, one of my, I guess during the build I played, my favorite mod that I unlocked was a mod that made every single bullet non-lethal, because I prefer not to kill my enemies personally.
Yeah,
I prefer to just hack them and turn them into vegetables, basically.
Well, and it actually...
I'm the opposite. I just want to mow everyone down, just dismember everything in my path, turn everyone into mush and guts everywhere.
Ash is such a
morality,
sweet human being.
Morality thing. I was like,
when it comes to games, I'm like a completely different person.
I was like, no, guy's not dead. His brain's just been fried, and he's going to be a vegetable for the rest of his life, so...
Well, does anybody have any more comments on David?
I like him so far. I only watched the first 2 episodes, but he starts out pretty interesting. It's like pretty sad, like with his family and like stuff like that.
Yeah,
I like how he starts wearing his mom's jacket, and
yeah, that was a neat thing on there too. How he ended up getting the jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got Maine.
Studio Trigger has just such a way with animation and just an incredible level of personality they have to whatever they create, and I mean lot of personality.
They seriously do. I would like to see some more stuff from them. What else do they do? Does anybody know?
Gurren Lagann. Let's see what else.
Kill la Kill.
Kill la Kill.
Oh, they do Kill la Kill?
Yeah.
Everybody has told me I need to watch that, so okay. I'm sold.
They also did Darling in the Franxx, if you want something with big robots.
Darling in the Franxx, yep.
I hadn't seen that.
That's where 02 is from, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
The only problem you have with Edgerunners is the annoying dialogue. Really? Are you watching it in English or are you watching it in Japanese? Because I watched it in Japanese, and I can always tell whenever they're not translating everything 100%.
I like how the main character is like feels like it's. I keep thinking of Anime right now.
No. The first time I saw Main, I was kind of like, bro, did you have some input on this?
Do you have something you want to tell us, man?
He's got more influence than you realize.
Exactly.
He does.
Exactly.
Well, and that's one guy I wish had been on the panel today because Anime is really big into anime, obviously, as his name indicates. And I kind of wondered if he had seen this yet, but I guess I'll find out tomorrow because we game together tomorrow.
I do think the funniest thing I've heard from Edgerunners was the whole like reason to why they kept Rebecca in. It was like the lowly stays in. I was
we're getting there.
Sorry. Oh, I didn't really spoil it. I was gonna say that is based as F. That is so based.
Are we sure this isn't Vox Machina? No, it's not Vox Machina. Although I did like that anime.
You don't understand. The lolly is important to our art.
And
yeah.
I have. Never mind. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
We'll get into it when we get to Rebecca. I thought Main as a character was pretty cool. He kind of felt redundant though. I mean, he was the big bruiser guy and everything like that. But I'm kind of like, well, if you got Main, then why do you have Dorio?
Is it Main the MC though?
MC?
Main character?
No, not really. David's the main character, I would say.
Okay,
but
never mind.
David's the main character because he was the only one in the episode I seen out of the two.
Okay.
Yeah, Main shows up later, but
well, no, I only seen the final episode, and Main wasn't in it. So
he's not.
I think Main was quite beneficial for David because I think Main was kind of like a mentor.
Yeah,
but David sort of showed him the ropes. This is what to do, what not to do, and there you go. Figure the rest out for yourself. I've shown you the basics, and it's up to you now, mate.
Yeah, Main kind of defined the cyberpunk style, the life of the edge runner to David.
Right.
You know, so Main was an important character in the show, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right.
And you do kind of get some of the sense of his history too from the episode that features him. You know, which I thought was some really good visual storytelling, which I know a lot of people are going to keep saying this to me, but I'm really big on visual storytelling. I love it when, something happens, either in game or in show, anything like that. And you don't have to explain it to me like I'm a fucking idiot. It's like I can watch it and figure it out.
It's the old classic show don't tell. That's
a
lot of properties we're definitely seeing nowadays is those more of just telling about what happens than actually showing it.
Yeah. Galadriel, conqueror of the orcs. Oh yeah. Okay.
You start on some.
I love Dorio.
I love Dorio too. I thought Dorio was great. I thought she was so underutilized.
Agreed. But she complimented Main really well.
Yeah, I liked how she kept hitting him and stuff.
Yeah,
when she would make him bleed from the nose every time she hit him too. Like she was even stronger than him. And she definitely has gorilla arms.
Oh yeah.
I wish they had done more with that character. I wish you had gotten to know her a little bit better.
Well, that's sort of like my one main gripe with the season as a whole, which really is this could have really been 2 seasons. Yes. I felt that they could have fleshed out a lot of scenes, fleshed out a lot of character relationships and interactions. It could have done with a bit more. And I do feel a few things were a bit rushed. Like it was very fast paced, one thing to another.
Okay.
And Dorio, I feel, would definitely have benefited from that.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's like most Netflix anime get a 12 episode run.
So they only have that, they only have that limited time frame to be able to tell what they need to tell, and really make an impression.
Yeah, and this one they only gave them 10, so kind of like the 2 extra episodes would have made a big difference because you could have gotten into more of these character stories.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you this: what is the in terms of the timeline? Where does this set takes place in? Where does Edgerunners take place? Does it take place at the same time as kind of V's journey, or is it
the game? I think it's the same time as the game.
It takes place 1 year before the game.
Yeah,
it takes a year before that. Okay.
Yeah, 1 year before 2077, before V's story.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something to have like a second season where it ends with possible cameo from someone like V, or even a mention of Johnny Silverhand? Something to think about.
Yeah. That's I kept wondering if we were going to get a cameo from Johnny Silverhand in there somewhere, but
is there a mention of places like Arasaka and such like that? Or is this still?
Oh yeah,
Arasaka
all over it now. Arasaka and Militech are the biggest parts of the plot. So
okay, so just like the games, all right.
Yeah, it's like we were saying, it's pretty much like everything in the show you can find it in the game.
Yeah, it's literally they just took the setting and the main corpse from the game and just put another character's story into that.
Okay. I think it shows that it really does show that, it's how vast of a world that, Mike Pondsmith built with Cyberpunk, and that you can have so many different stories, so many different adaptations, so many different things that could go on and on. It's like Cyberpunk has a potential. I think if the game hadn't had the issues it had, I think Cyberpunk would have had that big impact almost in the same way as the MCU would be. You know what I mean? It would have that same huge culture, almost a cultural impact.
Although at the same time, they were making so many big promises with the game.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way I think they could have fulfilled them all. Not with another 2 years of development, not with another 3 years of development. But I'm still pleased with the game that we got overall. I'm still really immersed in it. I've enjoyed it. I've got lots and lots of hours on it, and there are parts of the game that still make me choke up. And
Jackie's death still gets me.
Dude. Yeah, Jackie's death is one of those things. Yeah, that's sad, and his wake afterward is pretty sad too.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Speaking of which, here I'll put on something, and we can all. I haven't been using the background music thingy very much, so I might as well try that. But yeah, there's Dorio. And there's Kiwi. Who kind of ends up being an interesting character of her own.
Oh,
but
yeah.
We don't ever really find out a lot about her. Except that, she's as a character, she's got a thing with divided loyalties and.
Well, it's like throughout the show, she was just like, "Oh, don't trust anyone in Night City, and always look out for yourself," kind of thing. And she really embodied that, and also kind of liked that we didn't know much about her. There was like, we still had that one character that was kind of ambiguous in their backstory. We still don't know too much about them, even though we've spent this much time with them as a character.
Right.
Yeah. I wish there would have been a little bit more elaboration on her, because she seemed like she was the oldest member of the whole group, or at least the one who had seen the most. I don't know. She's a different character, and you notice too that she doesn't have a lower jaw. Yeah, it's when Maine knocks the mask off. She's she's one of those characters that doesn't have the lower part of her face and jaw is not there.
Okay.
Which you see a lot of characters running around in 2077 that way, and I'm always kind of like, how do these guys eat?
We saw one gang, and I think from the trailer I saw one gang present, and I was like, oh god, that's a callback to like one of the earlier missions. And I was like, do we see other gangs appear, such as the Voodoo Boys and such?
I don't think I don't remember seeing the Voodoo Boys in the cartoon, but I definitely remember seeing
Maelstrom. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, the animals stuff like that.
Animals was the one that I remember.
Mm-hmm. Animals is in there. Tiger Claws.
Tiger Claws in there. Okay. What about Moxie? Oh, probably not Moxie.
The Moxies were in there. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they were in there, but they weren't a big thing. They were just at the club.
Okay.
But they're not a big thing in the 2077 video game.
That's to be fair. I feel like that was kind of squandered though. I feel like there was so much more potential.
But I don't know if you noticed when they go to the Mox's club, the bodyguard with the pigtails and the bat.
Who, Rita?
Yeah, she's in the anime.
Nice.
In the anime. Brett Cohen says he found David a poorly written protagonist. It was nothing to get him to care. It was secondary characters that get no show. Okay, well, I mean, that's fair.
That might be the case where it's that your main character doesn't have a strong presence, but it's backed by the strength of the supporting cast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And from some of the clips I've seen, it seems like the supporting cast all really shine here.
They do. They all kind of have their part to play. I don't want to spoil everything, but it's just kind of funny how they decide to get them all involved, because there's definitely a few flips and turns in there that make me go, oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely some things I did not see coming.
Uh-huh. Oh, what's this? Aren't main characters often weaker in modern media because they need to be everymen to project on?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the times the writing has to try to spread the character out and be everything. So you do wind up with a weaker character overall because they can't focus. They can't, fit a trope or a, God forbid, a stereotype.
Well, I think it's just harder to just like, you want to try to make, I think that's the kind of issue I'm dealing with right now, is trying to make a main character as someone you actually want to follow and see their journey in, and make them likable, make them you can want to follow their journey and see where it goes to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the importance though is to make someone that people can root for. You put
that's the thing. I know that's usually
They suck at that these days, though.
Oh,
like Gladriel, to bring it back to another show.
A show that doesn't exist.
Being weaker is the furthest thing from the main character should be. You don't need the main character to be an everyman. Well, I mean, Jaden, a lot of, I hate to say this, but from the Twilight books on, a lot of the modern writing stuff that I've seen where they have a main character has been kind of kept weaker so that the reader or the watcher or the viewer or whatever can kind of project themselves into that role and self-insert.
That's usually the case.
Twilight.
Yeah,
Twilight. He just said Twilight, actually.
Yeah, I did say Twilight, yeah.
I didn't know that part.
Yep. This is a character that really didn't get as much time as he got less time than everybody else. And I really didn't get much from him other than that he was just kind of a crazy asshole.
Oh yeah.
And he was a techie type. Other than that, all I remember him is kind of like, he was Rebecca's brother.
Yeah.
Some cases it might be, I would say it sounds like in some cases it might be just a case where you have a really interesting character, but their strength is they work in small doses, so you don't overplay. It's almost like you don't want to overplay that card too much. It's like finding the right time and then bring them right out, just enough to leave an impact and not overstay their welcome, I guess you could say.
That's a really good point, because I do see that with this character.
Yeah, he really didn't overstay his welcome, because he wasn't in the show very long.
Right.
You didn't get much. You didn't get a whole lot about him, other than that, him and his sister were trying to make it, and him and his sister are both kind of crazy. It seems to be.
The inverse can work as well. That's the thing.
Speaking of which,
yeah.
Oh,
Okay, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I did not like this character's design.
There was a reason for that, obviously. Certain trope that needs to be in every anime.
Yeah, because at first, she was a lolly, which that I don't like lollies, because lollies really just make me shiver. Yeah, it just kind of triggers my no response. The other thing though is I didn't like the red and green eyes. I thought that kind of freaked me out.
That's Cyberpunk for you.
I personally liked it.
What?
For me, with Rebecca, is I'm a love-hate relationship with her character, because obviously the look of why, but the personality, like the crazy personality, the way her character was written, I thought it was done very well.
Yeah, it was. She ended up growing on me as a character for her personality.
Yeah.
Plus you could see some time goes by during the show where she gets some new upgrades and stuff, and some new implants where she gets the big gorilla arms herself and starts shooting off the big shotguns and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole weird eye thing though, that's literally like part of the game. Like I played a character that had like the swirly like hypno eyes, so yeah.
Oh. Well, you don't get to see your character very much, so.
Yeah, still, but you see other people have like the weird eyes too. You can literally have like smiley face pupils.
Oh, just that look at her. Mind you, I haven't met her in the show yet, but I look at her and I think Harley Quinn Jr.
Well, and here's the thing, and I know that. And I get the reason behind it, and like I said, I say this as somebody who doesn't like lollies either. I understand the appeal, but that's not my kind of thing. But I understand, I get it. The complaints, I did hear some complaints, and I'm just like,
they didn't want her in the game.
Are you serious? Let's think about the setting here. It's a cyberpunk dystopian future where characters are having like body modifications, where people who have guns for arms or gorilla arms, as you say, or have so many modifications that they basically look like a robot. Whereas where you have a woman who her entire skin is platinum. Like, and you mean to tell me that a lowly character is out of place? Doesn't fit into this. Honestly, it actually makes perfect sense when you think about it.
Yeah, it being creepy and weird is like well, it's a dystopia.
That's what it's. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Like Rebecca's kind of body stature actually understands because it fits within the cyberpunk universe. I'm like, come on. But you draw the line at people who can get modifications to basically change their entire skin color to like a silver or platinum color or something like that.
Yeah,
but that's where you draw the line. I'm
gender
sorry.
swapping is like not a big deal in Cyberpunk either, because it's like,
I bet you even race swapping is probably not a big deal.
Not really. I mean, who could tell what race you are after you get your skin chromed over and stuff?
Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, Ash, we could probably tell what the race he could be if he got like turned his skin chrome or something. I'm still offense.
Well, that setting is obviously messed up because even in the first 2 episodes, whenever David's like walking to school and stuff, there's like this, like he's standing at the bus stop, I think, and there's like this fat guy above him, and just with like sitting there with like a big penis pump, like just like jacking him off.
Exactly.
Like just right there in the open, and nobody even like looks at it twice.
Yeah. Well, that kind of stuff is. They really play that up a lot in the cartoon. or the anime that they don't do in the video game itself. But yeah, in the anime, yeah, you'll see people just engaging in all manner of perversions.
Exactly.
The game hints at it with like all the different posters and advertisings rather than the NPCs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why
it's like something like this. That's why you see something like Rebecca's character is just like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't stick out. It actually blends in well. I'm just saying.
You mean even more than you already do, Joseph?
Suika likes her. And she does end up being a solid character all the way to the
exactly.
end. So I like Rebecca. I just
hamburger.
Yeah.
I saw one of the clips of her with the face character, and I laughed at that. I was like, yeah, that's definitely one of those kind of archetype characters.
Yeah, she's funny, and it's funny thing is she plays up on her being so small and cute and childlike too, because it's like at one point they pull off a heist with her tied up in a refrigerator and everything, and gagged and bound and everything. But like they're selling her to some obvious Fredos,
and it works. Yeah, it works well. You know.
Let's see. Anime cannot show naughty bits, but the game sure did it with the posters. Yeah. No, well.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah.
I don't know. Okay. I mean, yeah, you weren't getting like, gaping things or anything like that.
No, not like that. But it was suggested.
Yeah,
they showed a little bit of stuff.
There was nudity in there. There was plenty of nudity in that anime. And I want to address something. Joseph McKeever says, he says, I'm ambivalent to the start weak and become strong trope because it's overdone. Becoming stronger quickly becomes believing in yourself or screaming more. Okay. That's kind of an old Japanese
it is
archetype for all of their series. All their main characters and everything like that tend to start out weak, normal, or just, nobodies, and become super duper powerful over time. I mean, very rarely you're going to have an anime where the guy starts off super duper strong from the very beginning. And even, and I mean, even One Punch Man, although he does start the series, he starts the series midway in his career. So it's not like,
they're clever. And I think with One Punch Man is like they're very clever about it. It's incredibly clever.
Well, the whole point about One Punch Man is that he literally is like already strongest in the world, and nothing is exciting anymore.
Yeah. They make it work.
Yeah,
that becomes the challenge though. With a trope like that, you gotta make it interesting.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, then Isekai got popular, and they decided to just skip that whole development part and growth part. Let's just so they're weak at the very beginning. They go to the video game world, and now they're really strong. Let's just skip everything in between.
Kind of. I've seen a few isekai anime where they're weak. They go into whatever it is, and they build up to it. There's a few anime I could suggest that are like that, but yeah, I mean that's just a Japanese trope. They like that. They like that every man can become a hero type thing. That's a really strong nationalist feeling amongst the Japanese, and it's prevalent in just about everything they do. There's very few anime, like I said, where the character is just strong from the very beginning, that you see him all the way through. Like Kenshiro in Fist of the North Star is pretty much not quite at the peak of his abilities when the show starts, but he's definitely, more than a match for your average person. Easily.
Ninja Scroll.
Yeah, Ninja Scroll. Jubei is pretty powerful right away. There's
Goku.
a few.
No, Goku constantly gets power-ups.
Yeah, Goku powers up throughout the show too, but he doesn't ever start out as a normal person at all.
Right, and it's always kind of a case when especially when it comes to writing Superman, is always kind of like that too. It's always been kind of a challenge. I always see it's kind of a challenge, to write somebody who has that kind of power level, who's someone who's able to be something like that, almost invincible, and be able to work it, and be able to make that compelling, be able to make really good stories out of that. Speaking of Invincible, that's another character, Invincible. Character who's weak, like a character who is nowhere near the same power level as his father, but the strength is that he is invincible. Really, he can take a beating and take even the worst beating and still come out of it. So it really depends. It really depends on really how you approach it in terms of how you write it out. You know.
Linking it back to TTRPGs, I have noticed it's kind of weird with players for the most part, because it's like I've run games where the players literally started out as demigods from the moment they entered the world, and it was kind of like, you know, their characters are so much more powerful than an average person. I mean, I would literally demonstrate this by having, you know, small armies of characters fight the main characters, you know, and then, you know, you usually in a TTRPG, it's kind of like if you have more than 5 characters coming at you and you're level 1, that's kind of a puckering idea,
right?
But the reason I do it, I'm kind of like, you know, let me show you what you're capable of. It's like, okay, when you start wiping out, you know, like 5 guys every time you swing your weapon or something, it's kind of like you see how powerful your character starts off. But those players don't like it.
Well, that's that kind of reminds random game that I've been playing, Diablo 3, because it's on a new season. But I like the way Diablo 3's storyline handles it. It's like the reason why your character can go around and kill hundreds and thousands of demons and just bash the shit out of them, and they like fly through the air and like all this other stuff, is because he's literally like a god deity, like Nephilim type of guy right from the beginning. That doesn't mean you can't die in Diablo 3, but it's like they explain it, and even the NPCs and all the other characters are like in awe of your character because he's so strong.
Yeah, I still can't wonder. I keep wondering about Diablo 4 if that's going to be any good. But
you know what? What's a early example of like an ordinary guy in quotes becoming strong? It's John Carter from Mars. He goes to Mars, and because he's used to Earth gravity, he's like super strong on Mars. It's just fun.
Yeah.
RoboCop.
Well, there wasn't even 12 episodes for Edgerunners. There's only 10, so it's there's definitely there's not easy to cover a lot of growth quickly in that show. But moving on, let's see. Yeah, and then there's the person that is kind of our other main character is Lucy.
My God, did I hate what little I seen of her.
Really? You did not like her?
God, she's such a flat character. She's just there so David has someone to fucking get hard over.
I disagree.
I do too. I like her character.
Yeah, I really like the character because there's a lot of like hidden backstory about her as a person. I mean, like, I don't like straight off the bat she shares like her most personal self with David in the form of a BD. But if they showed that bit later on when they've developed together as a pairing, then I think it would have worked better. But I like how she goes from like this crazy like character to then just kind of, I wouldn't say mellow, I'd say a bit more tamed, and she's like learned to actually care about people.
Yeah.
I do see like that development in her character, and it's like her final scene with David. I thought that was very touching.
It was good. And you know, it's like the kind of the overwhelming theme for Night City and Cyberpunk is just kind of like, you know, death. It doesn't matter how your character lives, because a long life is not what you're striving to attain. If you're in Cyberpunk, if you play Cyberpunk, you're just trying to, you know, die young but do something great before you die.
Well, they even said it in the show. It's like it's not really about how you live; it's really about how you die. That's how you make your mark in the city.
Now you're making me think more about the show. You're liking it less and less. Well, I'm sorry, Brett. I can't help that, man. I mean, it's like, you know, like I said, I enjoyed it. I think Ash enjoyed it. Most of us enjoyed it for what we've seen of it. Adrian,
I'm enjoying it so far. Are we ever gonna get a Neuromancer like show or movie? You think?
Oh man, I don't know. I would say no, just because one, Gibson is kind of a stickler for his properties.
Yeah.
The other thing too is it's like, I mean, look at what they did with Johnny Mnemonic for one thing. But
well, that was the '90s, to be fair.
Yeah, that was the '90s. But there are things from Neuromancer that Gibson did not take into account that would be seen as like some really weird cultural artifacts. Because we have cell phones and all this other stuff like that. We don't have neural implants or anything cool like that, but a lot of our micro technology is so far beyond what he was envisioning, and yet we don't have, wetware and all that stuff.
Well, since it's current day, I'm sure they would make multi-millions like incredibly annoying somehow. So
yeah.
Well, Gibson came and did a speech at my university, and I think,
cool.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. But I think that guy fried his brain on acid.
Probably.
Yikes.
He's a weird guy. He's wrote like whole books about like Gnosticism, and it's like really weird. And then like
he's also very left wing.
What was that, Victor?
I said he's also very left wing. He literally wrote a book about like what if Hillary won instead.
Wow. Did not know that.
The Hillary utopia would have been a shining bright light to freedom and democracy and et cetera, et cetera.
I don't know. I'm not all political.
All I'll say is, keep dreaming. Keep telling yourself that. That's all.
So what? Look, I'm just saying we could have gotten the cyberpunk future.
You don't think we're in it? What? You don't think we're in a cyberpunk future as it is?
Well, we're in the dystopia.
Oh, we're in a dystopia.
Yeah.
And as I've often said, it's like this dystopia is shit. Can we please trade this?
Cool?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, come on.
Every single one of us, as soon as we leave this stream, our social media is going to be inundated with like personalized advertisements for the things that we talked about.
Yep.
That's weird. It's true. Well, okay. Well, I want all the cybernetic implants. I want the robot chicks and the flying cars. And then the neon everywhere. So.
Well, I mean, you say that, but finding the ads for the male lingerie is really helpful and kind of neat once in a while.
I was gonna say,
manscaping.
I'm just saying the neon everywhere is going to get very blinding and irritating to your ears after a while.
Sunglasses.
Your eyes after a while. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's going to be like the Seinfeld episode with Kramer.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he opens the door.
So
what's going on in there, Kramer?
Squeak it. Yeah, no, it's not just a girl thing. I agree. Lucy's kind of a different character. She's very multifaceted, especially when you find out what her backstory was.
Okay.
Wait, there's female characters in this? Okay, pass.
Yeah. Oh, come on, there's three.
There's women. There's women in here.
Femoids cringe. I'm not playing this game anymore.
SJW. There's women in here.
So, I'm curious, like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer like cyberpunk or cassette futurism? Let's refer kind of.
I prefer cassette futurism for cyberpunk.
I like both of them actually.
What's the difference?
So cassette futurism is like it's in the future, but everything's still analog, kind of still like VHS tapes and like hard track.
Well, basically like almost like a retro futurism,
like a steampunk dystopia type thing.
The best example is basically Alien. How, despite being in the future and high tech, it's still like using like analog computers and shit and like really rudimentary technology. That's kind of
taped in.
Like the entire new retro wave, like music genre and like the aesthetic of like Kung Fury, for example. That type of thing.
You've got steampunk, you've got dieselpunk, you've got atom punk, and then cassette futurism is basically that, but for the 80s and 70s.
Or you have an older version of it just by looking at an older film. If you look at the original Westworld movie, if you look at the original Westworld back in the 60s, all those robots in that show were created with transistors and things. Yeah. So.
You know what an old movie had that aesthetic, and most people have forgotten, is Tron. That really kind of like revolutionized that whole like aesthetic with the neon colors and the futurism.
Pretty much.
It did. Tron Legacy. I just watched that again yesterday. It was amazing.
Another movie that actually fits really well into the Alien universe is it's with Sean Connery. It's called Outland, where he's like a space marshal on like a mining moon.
Yeah,
that was a good movie.
Yeah.
A long time ago. And I think that's actually set in the Alien universe.
Not officially, but they used a lot of the same props and stuff like that. So it's basically like, yeah, this could easily be Alien, but it's just about like a different corporation. It's not about like Weyland Yutani, but like one of their rivals.
Well, there's like actual direct references to Weyland Yutani and
not rubber old grannies or going too slow in the speed lane.
Oh, Brad, that's just cruel. Do I spend all my evening watching stuff, and that's why I haven't put together and painted all my lonely? Yes.
Lonely minis. See, I just finished an entire Clanker army for fucking Legion yesterday. It's nice.
I have to be in the mood to paint miniatures. If I'm not painting miniatures,
guys, come on.
If I'm not painting miniatures, I'm creating 3D artwork, or I'm playing video games.
I have only single minis in your area waiting to be painted.
Yes.
Hot single minis in your area. So what's all on the docket for today, like cast wise? Like, what all subjects do you guys have going on so far? Because I have
one subject so far.
About is fucking Cyberpunk.
Because I showed them I showed them the Clownfish TV video last night, and they just kind of laughed it off, and I was like, so this is the one they say that Dungeons and Dragons is the R word and such like that.
I didn't laugh it off. I was already angry about it, so.
Okay.
I had planned on.
Okay.
So basically, he's dodging it. He's dodging it. Basically, he's like,
Well, this is kind of a standard issue problem now with D&D. But the one thing I'm still burning over is the "Make Middle Earth Great Again" thing. And
Jesus.
Oh, that was fucking great,
bro. I'll sit on the couch like this. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, the elves are taking her gerbs. It's literally what it was. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now?
I saw that, yeah. They're talking about nothing but Cyberpunk while Kringe loses all life force. Well, that's what we're here to do.
That little cutout that you have there is from Neo Tribes.
Yeah,
it is from Neo Tribes. Okay.
For 2020.
For 2020. And I think I actually have that book. Let me double check. I'm going to do that.
Somewhere, the PDF anyway.
I like the font. What font is that?
Yeah, I do have Neo Tribes. I sure as hell do.
Is there a safe space in Neo Tribes with the coloring books?
No, absolutely not. See, that's the thing. The writers were Ross Wynn and Eric Oppen, and this was written back in '95.
Mm-hmm. So one of them are the ones who wrote that, not Mike Pondsmith.
Yeah, Mike Pondsmith did not write that.
Why am I dying, Suika?
I mean, Mike Pondsmith could have written that because his worldview is very similar to what's being expressed here.
Yep. And as a matter of fact, here, let me just flex a little bit for people who hadn't seen this before.
T-shirted, I think Mike Pondsmith should be on your stream.
I think Mike Pondsmith should be on my stream.
We have tried. He is still trying.
I'm still trying. I just sent him an email the other day. The dude never responds to me.
We're totally gonna get him on the Basic Expert show first, and just be like, hey, sup T-shirt, come watch us.
You probably will, just because you have more viewers, and I don't know. It seems like the bigger people like there don't want to be on a show where you guys aren't even monetized yet.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah. Did you flex your Ryan Hagen chops there, having him on the show?
That's true. I had Ryan Hagen on the show, and that was a shocker, man. I still love that.
You should mention that in your email to Mike Pondsmith and be like, hey, I've had Mark Ryan Hagen on the show. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
And the guy from Castles and Crusades.
Yeah, I've had him too. I've had a lot of I wouldn't say huge people on the show, except Mark Ryan Hagen was huge. But of course I got Guard Bro. He's got a hell of a lot more followers than I do, so he's huge.
Huge. He's fucking huge.
He's huge. Yeah. Now, are you going to build a wall and make the ammunition and the ammunition pay for it?
Guard Bro is rotund, absolute unit. We're gonna build a wall around Numenor so the elves can't get in.
Oh my god, that was horrible.
Oh boy.
Didn't they do? I saw like a little thing from a recent episode of that where it's like some dude saying like, "Oh, the elves are taking your jobs." Like,
yeah,
really?
That literally happened in the show.
So more or less, they went full, like, I would say the word full retard with this episode, and did like a MAGA rally where they said elves will not replace us in the fucking show.
Oh my god, Victor!
And I don't care if you ain't seen it yet. Just it's so on the nose that it's just ridiculous,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
Elves will not replace us, man. Except when I die and they don't. Then they'll replace me, but still, they will not replace us, man.
Well, somebody was talking about. I made the observation. I said, "Wow, it's really nice for them to show us how beautiful and wonderful looking Numenor is, because it's all destined to get wiped out."
Well, I don't understand how, like, lore-wise, what they've given us. They've given us that the elves gave Numenor to the humans. They refuse to explain why the humans are so fucking pissed at the elves. Like, I just don't get it, you know. Like, so elves and elves are rare in Middle Earth in the first place.
Why would elves even want to take human jobs anyway?
I don't know. Like, why would an elf want to be a fucking, like, a farrier? Like, they're not.
That was just some.
Well,
that was just some dumbass 2022 stupid shit written by somebody who clearly hasn't read a single Tolkien book.
Well, can you tell what was going on at the time they were writing that?
Yes, you can.
What gets me is that they keep printing about, hey, racism bad in all the D&D games and all these shows, yet they use racism as a plot device while also saying it's bad. Like, people forget the entire thing. I watch it like, okay, the humans are racist against elves. And this is clearly a woke show, right? But everywhere else, they're like, hey, racism bad. You shouldn't have it in your shows. Yet find it completely convenient to use this as a plot device to further their own narrative. Like, are you guys out of your You can't have it both ways. Either you don't have it, or you're going to use it. So, you know what? For narrative-wise, it makes a lot of sense. But even then, like, it's clumsy racism. Like, if you're going to use racism, make it very clever racism, or very logical racism. You don't use, like, clumsy racism. Like, oh, yeah, elves bad. Why? Because they live a long time.
The big rumor about this show is that they basically just had a Dragon Age script, and the show, like, they couldn't get that off the ground, so they just, like, repurposed it into Lord of the Rings. And, like, in Dragon Age, like, there's the whole elf racism subplot. They call elves, like, knife ears, which they also do in the show. So yeah.
Kringe, I did listen to you. The problem is there's a morbid curiosity in my
You didn't really listen to me if you're watching the show.
No, he listened to you.
If
He
you're
just chose
talking
to
about
ignore
the
it.
show, you're not listening to me.
I'm listening to you. I'm just ignoring you because I'd rather watch it.
Wait, is somebody talking?
And you can't complain about a terrible show that gets put out.
Oh no! I can complain about it. That's my right.
Talk about it. Give it interactions. They're going to keep doing this. You can't complain.
Look at Just Passerby's post in the fucking shit.
Oh no! God. Oh my!
Oh my!
Oh,
this sounds like Dwarven propaganda right there.
Ash, okay, you're the only one who did not hate Rings of Power. Okay, okay. In an attempt to kind of keep things positive and hear things from a different angle, Ash, I want to know why you like it.
Just because he doesn't hate it doesn't mean he likes it.
Well, wait, positivity? I'm out. Okay.
I'm not trying to shit on Ash, because I like Ash. One of the reasons I have Ash on my panel is that he does often like things that the rest of us don't, and sometimes he comes up with an angle, and I'm kind of like, oh, I could kind of see that. So go ahead.
All right, what you got, Ash?
Well, for me, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It was just all right, because, like, I didn't read any of the books. I'm coming off the six films, and that's it. I don't know any of the backstory, backlore, and I think for me, from that perspective, I just watched Rings of Power, and I just enjoyed it for what it was on the screen, and I didn't read too much into it. Like that whole scene you guys spoke about earlier, with that was essentially like a quote unquote MAGA rally. Like I watched that, and I just thought, okay, yeah, there'd probably be some humans that would really hate elves and would probably actually do that on that island. So I wasn't like too pissed off about something like that. But like I said, a lot of the stuff that I loved wasn't Galadriel centric, and Galadriel was supposed to be like the main female protagonist, and like I don't like how they marketed with the dwarfs. I forget her name, the black dwarf princess.
Nisa.
Yes.
Oh, Nisa, yeah.
Yeah, because they marketed her as like the leader of the dwarfs, when really it was Durin, and she was basically just a loving wife who's just supportive.
Yeah.
That's and they were using her as like, oh, she's leading the dwarves. She's this amazing person, but I just saw her as a loving wife, and she was a really pleasantly written character as well. It's just they marketed her as something she wasn't.
Well, okay, and then they established something in episode 4 that just kind of make it. Oh, of course, Disa found it because girl. But yeah, apparently she was sounding on some ore and stuff like that, and then she is the one who actually discovered Mithril. So
I got a question. So hold on, I have a question for Sing so far, because you're saying you're enjoying the show.
Yeah.
From a writer's perspective, like I'm watching this as a writer.
Right.
Do you have any idea why the elves are being racisted against?
Not really.
So what I'm asking is, as a viewer, you're like, okay, they don't like elves. Have you figured out from now? I'm not being like mean about it. I'm asking you for real. From the episodes you've seen, do you have any idea or clue as to why elves are hated?
Well, I guess it's probably just because there's some sort of like elitist race that are self-absorbed, and the humans think. Well, according to a lot of the elves, the humans are descendants of Morgoth, and so there's that like that brewing race war in there somewhere.
Well, the
humans hate the elves.
The Southrons, that group of elves led by Don Lemonloss, are watching over our. That's the Southrons are supposed to be guys who were allied with Morgoth originally. So yeah, that's why the elves are watching them, is to make sure that they don't suddenly rise up again. But
good lord, it's just like because me watching it, I'm like, why the fuck are they so mad at each other? So far, we have some. Well, thing is, like the Morgothian humans. Okay, we can understand why the elves wouldn't like them. They wouldn't like the elves. Why the fuck are the Numenorians, who were given a city by the elves, who were on the elves' side and fought against Morgoth? Why the fuck are they so pissed at the elves? That's what I don't get.
Yeah,
and I'm kind of asking, Sing, like, I have no fucking idea. Have you gleaned anything as a impartial viewer about what's going on? Because so far, all we know is that, well, they live a long time and they share some jobs.
To be fair, I do agree with you. Like, I don't understand why the Numenorians do hate the elves. I mean, there is that quote unquote race thing going on, but to me, I didn't really care too much about Numenor as a place. For me, my main interests were what was happening with the Black Elf character and those humans, and some of the stuff that was happening with the Harfoots. And like a few little tidbits in here, that those are my main draws. That was kind of what I was sort of getting to, is like the main plot devices that the show is obviously like, here, you need to care about this. But for me personally, it's like, oh, I don't actually care about that. I care about these other things. And like the whole stuff with Galadriel in the water for like 2 episodes or 1 episode, and then all of a sudden someone comes along and that guy just so happens to be an elf, either elf sympathizer, and he knows Elvish, and it's like it's kind of obvious. But like I get both sides. It's just me, I don't think too much into it. There's the way I think I just like to sit back and enjoy it, and it's pretty worlds, pretty fantasy, and I'm very simple like that.
Well, from a lore perspective, which they don't explain in the show probably, and it's very deep shit, but basically the Numenorians probably don't like the elves because they were forbidden by the Valar to sail to the Undying Lands, which is the lands, far to the west. That's basically kind of like heaven. You go there, the elves can go there and they become immortal, and they just live in like this paradise. And there was a ban that the gods basically prevented the Numenorians from going there because of their rebellion or whatever they did, and probably it has something to do with that. But It would have been nice for them to explain that. Maybe even have an episode.
Exactly. So, like seeing, I'm sure. Seeing, have you read the Silmarillion or any of like the older books about all the lore stuff, or you're kind of like a toe foot into this?
I'm sort of a newbie when it comes to Tolkien in general. My knowledge is just the 6 films.
So my problem is that people like Singh, who haven't slogged through the Silmarillion as a historical text, they have there's been no context to know what the fuck is going on whatsoever. And even then, in the Silmarillion, they don't discuss any of the shit they're talking about right now. And it's really, because say some coming in blind, like, I've seen all 6 movies, and I love Lord of the Rings. They're surface level. They say the surface level, they haven't dived in, like they've watched I like the movies, I like Hobbits, hooray. And they go and watch a show, they're like, there's no context for them. There's no hey, here is why, at least like a political flashback be nice. Like, there's this guy, he did a thing, and boom, race war, hooray. At least it'd be something for context for these more surface level viewers. But there's nothing there. And I cannot figure out why this ignored the overview of stuff.
Even worse than that is, I'm afraid by the end of the show, they're going to show the fall of Numenor, so that's not a spoiler. Numenor falls like Atlantis, basically. They collapse. But they're gonna show that, and they're gonna be like, see, this is what happens to racists. It's like they're gonna have some kind of stupid message behind it, and it's like they're gonna ignore the actual war. It's like the fall of Numenor wasn't supposed to be something you celebrate. It's supposed to be like an immense tragedy.
Yeah,
right.
It's essentially twisting the narrative. You're twisting the narrative on purpose.
I hope they don't do that, but they might. You never know.
I don't know. It sounds like from what they've been doing, with them saying what we said with what's his name, whoever the elf, the dark elf is, the Don Lemon elf. He was saying that this is our story now. This is what we want to tell. Is like you have zero respect for the original lore. You are using this as a platform, and you're blatant about it, and you truly hate the Tolkien lore and everything beforehand. So I'm not surprised if they pull off something like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me, but it would make me sad.
They love saying that, it's our story now, but you literally have stories that you could tell that are yours, quote, maybe yours, kind of.
I see.
There's African mythology and shit you could do stuff with, but no.
Well, if I may, on my own show.
Sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
I think we should keep Victor away from the Africans, though, as a Dutchman.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah. Here, hang on. Let me make sure.
Get free rights.
Are they? Yeah, they're separated by enough. You have a wall of people between him and Makini, so it's good. Except he's next to the brown person.
He basically invented Uber.
Well, technically, I'm red right now.
I mean, remember, I'm technically sometimes black on this show. So.
It depends if Fact Steven is here. Okay, the downfall of Numenor, which is the fall of Numenor. The reason is because, the ban of the Valar is something that happened. The Valar were like another higher, like almost an angelic species above the elves, but they banned the Numenorians from sailing into the Undying Lands, right? Basically, they were closing heaven from the men, and that pissed off the men, according to the show. But the thing is, it's like the part of the show that they haven't gotten into, but they're going to probably, is Sauron ends up corrupting Numenor because of Ar-Pharazôn, the guy who's actually in charge of Numenor. He's the king at the moment. He's coerced by Sauron to assault the Undying Lands. So basically, under Sauron, the king of Numenor is going to lead an invasion fleet into heaven to attack the elves. So, as a result, Eru Ilúvatar, who is basically the god of Middle Earth, buries it underwater. So it has nothing to do with Galadriel being the fall of Numenor or anything else. It's because Sauron has shown up in Numenor. Because, if nobody has figured it out by now, Haldir is fucking Sauron.
But do they have the permission to use that part of the Silmarillion?
I don't know. I really don't.
They have 10 pages.
Yeah, they don't have very much, but I do notice that they they cite them on Prime every time. Like if you put your cursor over the screen whenever the movie is happening or whenever the show is happening, it'll bring up the little things. It'll say, like, it'll quote pages from where they got the source material from. But that I don't know, man.
They have the rights to the appendices, and that's it.
It's like, I don't know. You don't know. I don't know. They don't know. No one knows. It's just a long train wreck covered in elf.
They do not have permission to use that. Okay.
I think it's the case they don't know, and at the same time they don't care. Clearly they don't care. Like,
if you're gonna spend all this money, you gotta care. You can't just throw $300 million to the fucking winds.
I think part of the problem with the show is the fact that they have it spread out so much over 4 different stories. Because you've got the story of the Harfoots, you've got the story of Erendir, the elf. You have the story of Numenor and Galadriel, and then you have the story of Elrond and the dwarves. I'm kind of like, you got 4 different plot lines going at the same time. If you had just shifted to one of those per season and just told a more complete story that just encapsulated that one storyline, it would have been so much better.
Should have been an animated series, and they should have got the guys who did The Prince of Egypt, because that's a really good fucking movie.
Well, it really is
odd
how.
Hell yeah, absolutely. I agree 100% on that.
It really is odd how
the Elrond story.
The story is like, it mentions like, oh yeah, he's got a son who's going in the fleet work, and it shows Isildur for like 4 minutes, and it cuts away to something else. Like why are we here? What the fuck? And it just out of nowhere.
Yeah, and they keep bringing in more and more characters. Like, why are we bringing in Isildur, and why does Isildur suddenly have a sister who's really important too, and all this other shit? And I'm just kind of like,
wow. He has a hot sister for some reason.
Yeah, a really hot sister.
But
he absolutely ignores.
What do y'all think of the Harfoots? Because they me, God. They are the Now, I don't mean to nitpick, because like I'm sure Singh likes the Harfoots, but looking at what I've heard and what they're doing, it's like no one walks alone. You're fucking decaravan, and they leave him behind. They have a huge book like, this guy got caught in the snow and fucking died. Oh well, like it's like
this guy got stung to death by bees. I can't imagine something more horrible.
Well, to be fair, the bee thing, it happens. That's not their fault. A guy being left in the snow to die and saying we walk, no one walks alone. It's like, but you left him behind to die, and like. It's just like, okay, this guy broke his foot. And you see people kind of like just jazzing along the fucking caravan, and like, one of you fucks can't volunteer to help haul a damn wagon from the back of the caravan? Like, what? And if you notice, being at the rear of the caravan is a threat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what are these guys like hippie first? Like, we're all work together, communism, or are they like weirdly like dark about it? Like, what's the deal here?
My blood pressure is through the roof right now.
Yikes.
I do want to ask.
I'm so glad I'm not subjecting myself to this.
Hold on, Sting, go ahead.
I do ask, what actually are Harfoots? Are they like supposed to be like the precursor to hobbits?
Proto-hobbits.
Yeah. The only reason they exist in the show, the only reason they exist in the show is to give viewers who are familiar with the previous movies and The Hobbit some kind of connection, because they're expecting to see a Hobbit. I think that's the only reason they're in there.
There's a larger issue here, is the fact that there are black Harfoots, right, which are proto-hobbits.
Yeah.
There are no black hobbits in the villages, so it's like a weird like hobbit race war that happened or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, they were bred out of existence. I don't know.
Well, there will be a lot of questions. I was like, that's not a very nice question to think of, because we're all the black hobbits then. Where do they go?
Well, they were described as ruddy or having olive skin, but as Grimm has pointed out several times on his Twitter, that's because they were farmers and they were in the sun all the time, and so they had that kind of parched, outside look to them. It's not like that they were African or whatever. That's what they looked like.
I heard that they try to explain like why there's like white Harfoots and black Harfoots. They say it's like different tribes that banded put together for protection. But then somebody pointed out like the whole thing is that like they survive by like hiding. having one big tribe doesn't really facilitate that. Like you'd figure they would be like all like little small tribes because it's easier to hide then if you it's just a couple of you and like instead of like hundreds.
Well, the fact is, like hobbits as a whole, there wouldn't really be any white hobbits or black. They'd be all like ruddy flesh, like they'd be kind of like a Native American Eskimo skin because they're outside a lot in the sun. They're nature folk. They wouldn't be white or black. They'd be like Native American colors, like
Mediterraneans, Nigerians,
like Greek or like Southern Italian or Native American, or like they'd be kind of brownish, or like even like olive skinned or just dark. Like they wouldn't be white in the first place, and they wouldn't be black either. They're nature folk. Like it's just. Like it's so little. It takes so little thought to think about this.
That's right, Senor. All those Harfoots be out in the villages selling the bags of oranges.
But it just this stuff takes so little thought to like do it accurately and properly, and it's refused to. And it's so tiring. Like the budget alone is like you guys didn't have one advisor, like one guy who's like a biologist. Go like, yeah, so if they're here doing this, they look like this. There you go.
Biologist is a no word. We don't use that.
It matters because they're doing it for a very specific reason. They're basically trying to astroturf us with some current day culture war stuff, and
Squeaka, your question is kind of like, okay, if you flip it around, why it matters. Let me flip it around to something where you might understand it better. Let's say we want to make a new Martin Luther King Jr. film, and I decide that we want to cast Benedict Cumberbatch in the role of Martin Luther King Jr. Obviously, we can't do blackface because that's racist as fuck. So he has to appear as a white person who is playing a black person, and it's kind of like, you don't think there would be like some massive outrage about that?
I disagree with that example because that's taking a real historic event. I mean,
which they've also done.
A much better version would be a Blade with no black vampire to white vampire.
Okay, look at this, guys, because this has been the whole fucking discourse that's been on Twitter these past couple of days with not only with Ariel the Little Mermaid, but with wanting to cast Keke Palmer as Rogue.
Who?
And it's just Keke Palmer
as Rogue and like
yes.
Really?
Southern Belle Rogue, yes.
Yep. Yeah.
There's a lot of discourse on that right now. Listen,
isn't the MCU full of black mutants? I don't understand why.
It
is.
So why the race trade? That'd be like making Storm white. It'd be stupid.
Oh God, yeah, people would be shitting bricks if that happened.
That's a great example. Like so Squeaka right there. There's your example. Like they're making even like keeping Storm black, but making Rogue black for no reason.
I think, and I also think it's a case where it's just like, okay, because it pertains to fiction, it doesn't matter unless if it's a fictional black character.
Yeah.
Then that's where it matters.
Also, they have literally changed historical white people into black people repeatedly.
Anne Boleyn.
They did it in the latest season of Vikings. They did it with like Achilles.
Viking is not historical. Let's not go. That's not historical.
No, but that was like a literal historical character, though. That was like a historical Viking king, and they changed it.
Now you're gonna cause guards.
Jarl Hakon.
Oh, yeah. The black Viking king woman. Okay, never mind.
Jarl Hakon. That was an actual historical male white person.
There's like a educational like BBC cartoon that like it's about history, and like there's an episode where they talk about like the ancient Celts, and you see them standing around, and half of them are like black with like the blue face paint and stuff.
Okay.
It's like
So Squeaka, same thing. A historical show. They have that who was a white Viking king Jarl, whatever you want to call it, is now a black woman. And if you say, hey, that's wrong, you call it racist. At the same time, if a production had like they cast Shaka Zulu as some beefy ass white dude, they'd be called racist for doing it. It's kind of the same thing. And in one way it's allowed, another way it's not allowed.
Well, I remember
it's a double standard and it's hypocrisy. I think it's
what bothers me is the culture war behind it. Like, I had no issue when they had Denzel Washington as the Equalizer. The Equalizer was a show from the 80s with the old white man. I had no issue when Will Smith was like in I Am Legend. But there wasn't any culture war surrounded by.
I had issues with I Am Legend.
Yeah,
that had nothing to do with Will Smith.
But I also do think that it's also, and I think that Image Studio Super made a great case of this, of how the reasoning behind it and how well it's implemented, because you can make great cases for excellent performances of race swap characters such as Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin and Affleck's Daredevil. There's Sam Jackson's Nick Fury. There's plenty of it, but I think the problem is general problem is how it's implemented.
Yes.
You're clearly not picking the best person for the job. You're clearly not picking this because it fits the character. You're doing this out of diversity, intersectionalism, all that stuff. I think it's part of it is the intention behind it.
Yes.
Intention behind it.
Here you go. You want to know what will kill the Rogue thing 100% in its tracks? When they realize Gambit is still going to be a white guy. How does the black community on Twitter deal with that?
They're going to make Gambit black.
Well, I remember.
Okay, Squeaky said, Cumberbatch did play Khan. Okay, well, if you recall, Ricardo Montalban, who is Hispanic, played the original Khan. Yeah, so they already had kind of a history of somebody who was not of the same race playing the character. So him being white didn't matter that much. It was a horrible film.
In the long run, characters should stay how they're fucking written. They shouldn't just go, "Well, make him Asian." Like, no, if the writer says this guy is pale as fuck with red hair, you don't just switch out the fucking ginger for a Nubian prince. You just leave it how it's written.
If he looks like this guy.
Yeah.
Well, I remember.
Sorry to cut you off there, Greg. Well, my argument to that would be, let's take the biggest franchise that changed the world. There's so much cult following, so much, like, you couldn't go to a country where no one knew about it. But it was written in like the 50s when racism was ripe as rain. And so almost all the characters are white, and you want to do a new production in today's day. So, but if you do everyone as white to try and stay to the original source material, it was written in a different age and times of change. So does that mean you're not going to you now have to exclude all your actors of color just because you want to stick to a source material of a different age?
Yes, if you're sticking to the source material, you stick to the source material.
And it
was from an age that was ripe with racism.
But it's lasted 50 plus years as popular, so there must be something good about it.
Even then, if it's not a problem, then okay, cool. Write your own shit. Make a derivative if you need to. Don't try and sell. Don't try and sell an orange off. Don't try and sell an orange off as an apple. All right. You go, I can't write this apple or this orange. I gotta change it. Then cool, make an apple. To take the story, twist it, curve it, pull it, stretch it, bop it, make your own thing, and then do it that way.
Bop it.
So see, that reminds me of, I was there 3,000 years ago when the first X-Men movie came out, and I think we were in high school, maybe senior year, and the buzz was about the casting. Everyone was talking about, because everyone grew up on the X-Men Fox cartoon. That was the definitive for us. So it's like there was controversy over Anna Paquin as Rogue. Because, wait a minute, that's not the Rogue we remember. And she's like a teenager. That's not right.
Not my Rogue.
And there was controversy over, this or that character. Hugh Jackman was good, but there was Patrick Stewart was perfect, but Ian McKellen is Magneto. I don't know. He's like an old man. Does that work? So there was controversy about that type of stuff back then, and a lot of discussion. But it wasn't. That was before there was some kind of culture war to make it this just insane thing where it had to be political for some reason.
Well, even then, that's a comic book. You can see what the comic writer wanted the character to be and look like. You go, okay, we got to find something close to this. It'd be like having like I said before, it'd be like having Blade. All right, Black Vampire, Benedict Cumberbatch, get him and throw it in there. No, it's not. You go, okay, Black vampire. We'll find a black guy who looks like this, call it a day, make him a good actor. Done. Send it out. You don't just call him a fucking oddball out of nowhere and like, all right, we'll make him a 4'5" Asian midget. You just don't do that. There is source material in front of you, visually, you cannot ignore. If you do ignore it, you're pissed off every fan that fucking genre has.
Well, Ash said it's like the most popular franchise in the world. Okay, what's the issue then? Apparently, no people of color were upset previously that the Tolkien is like 99% white. They had no issue with it, and now all of a sudden it's an issue.
Well,
activists say it is.
They've been implying that some have, or they've been implying that there are non-white fans who have issues with not being represented in the shows. But like I haven't seen any hardcore proof of this. Like I go on YouTube and kind of try and find his videos, but I don't really find any non-white fans like, hey, I am so pissed all the hobbits are white. I don't really
and it's like and at that same token, I would argue you're so to speak, but you're discounting the non-white fans who were able to resonate with these characters.
Yeah.
You make it sorry, this is where my argument is. This is where I stand is like, you make it sound like we can't resonate with these characters. And yet we can. And yet we've been doing it for years. I've been saying multiple times that one of my all-time favorite characters in comics is Peter Parker. Someone who I can resonate with. And I'm not white.
Or how many people love Jon Stewart as Green Lantern?
Exactly.
Yeah,
my second favorite.
That was my first Green
Lantern. Blade, so yeah.
That was my first.
Okay, so, I mean, it's like, look, this is the deal. It's like, okay, I'm a Hispanic. It's like, I grew up, of course, consuming all the same media that everybody else did back in the 80s and 90s. I never had a problem with coloration and stuff like that. It's not like I couldn't see myself as Zorro, or I couldn't see myself as, any of the members of the A-Team, or anything like that. And then, of course, when we got into fantasy stuff, the very first book I ever picked up was like Return to Brookmere, where the main character that you play through that book is an elf. And I'm just kind of like, okay, I don't have a problem with, this being my main character, because it's kind of like, it's a story. It's fun. It's okay. I can make these decisions as this character. I'm not worried about that he looks like me or I look like him or whatever like that. It's an elf. I mean, obviously.
See, the beauty of Green Lantern is it's about the ring, not the guy who wears it. That's the beauty of Green Lantern. Or even Batman, who wears the suit. Joker, who wears the makeup. Those can be blended back and forth. A new Joker, a new Green Lantern, a new Red Lantern. Those are the things that they can prioritize. Hey, let's do a different kind of person color this time. Which it's because what matters is what you wear, not who you are. Like, they could be a black Punisher, no problem. Just put on the fucking shirt and rack your shotgun, and off you go. But it's they try and change what shouldn't be changed. Like, it'd be like making, I can't think of any, but more or less not what they wear, but a certain person, like Wolverine. You can't just say you're Wolverine because you have spikes. Like, there's a different person for each one of these mutants.
There's only one Wolverine. It is not fucking X-23.
If you claim to be a fan, but you want things changed, sorry, but to me, you're not really a fan. If you're a fan, you accept the thing as it is, and you don't go, I'm a fan, but wouldn't it be better? Like, no, shut up.
What really is odd is how these guys aren't...
Wait. Guys,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I need to switch gears, because Greg is going to be leaving here shortly, and I really want his input. I want him to see this before he has to leave.
Okay.
Actually, I have to leave too then. Yeah, forgot.
What? Why do you have to leave?
Because I'm doing the same playtest as him.
You're doing the same playtest as Greg? Oh, good. So we're losing two people at once. That's wonderful. I better get on this then. Okay. I talked about this a little bit, but this is the first time I've actually had to check it out. But there is a game out on Kickstarter that is called Drakenstar.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is
I knew that would interest you. Okay. I'll throw up the Kickstarter links here in a minute, but yeah, apparently it is a 5th edition science fantasy setting, which is kind of funny because I'm kind of like, oh, but don't we already have Spelljammer? But
she blinded me with science.
To me, this seems more like Starfinder, because it's like a fantasy world where space travelers came there, and now they travel from world to world on spaceships.
Wow. Nice. Okay. Yeah. There's definitely a heavy like Star Wars vibe here.
It's published by Dungeon Cast, who's up on Twitter.
What's the system?
5th.
So D20s, 2 actions, etc., etc.
It's 5th edition, so yeah.
2 actions, man. You have to be like a level 4 fighter to get that, at least.
Okay, looks like some classes there. You got a gunner type of class, maybe.
This is just their little background thingy. It's supposed to have some new races, some new classes.
You can't call them races.
Where's the Monster Little version? Where is it?
Who said that?
Is that the whole book, or is that like a sample?
No, it's just a sample. If you'll allow me, I'll show you the Kickstarter page. You might find out some more.
Yeah, they're not races anymore. They're ancestries.
They're races, man.
Not being racist. They're not racist.
They're folks with an X, don't you know?
Yeah. So this is the campaign. They've got 6,000. They're not to their goal yet.
Damn, that's a long campaign. Holy shit.
Well, look at how big their goal is and how far they are on it.
Yeah, they've got some ways to go.
I mean, to be fair, $6,000 better than no grand. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It's more than 90 ice.
See, that there is kind of a benefit to going with not Kickstarter, but the other one. Yeah, because you get paid right away. You don't have to wait.
Yeah. What is this? Welcome to Drakenstar, a setting where science fiction meets high fantasy, set in the far future of what was once a classic fantasy world. Civilization has now spread across the many planets of the known galaxy. Countless aeons have passed since the ancients left their original prime world far behind and ventured to the distant stars. Drakenstar encompasses and details an entire galaxy where players and NPCs travel by spacecraft to various planets and star systems. Exploration of alien frontiers, starship skirmishes by Aetherlight, advanced civilizations vying for galactic dominance, and the fusion of ancient sorceries with biological and technological advancements. All of these and more are elements of adventure in the universe of Drakenstar. So that's why I say it kind of feels more like Starfinder. But
yeah, it's certainly a little bit different from Spelljammer.
Potentially, since it's being privately made, it's kind of free from all the fucking bullshit, isn't it? Like it's kind of detached from all like these predications on RPG games.
Yeah, although I noticed that the word is new galactic species, which I'm fine with that. Okay, I don't care.
For sci-fi, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. So.
Species.
One class.
Don't be a speciesist.
So when's your next 5e Kickstarter, Greg?
I am out of 5e for a long time.
Whoa. So more or less, this is they said high fantasy. So is like magic as well with all the science tech, or I mean, I assume there is.
Probably. I mean, it looks like they
have to do it that way.
Yeah, Magitech and Super Kinetic. That sounds like they're going to be going for that type of thing.
If you're going with 5e, you kind of have to do it that way unless you want to strip a lot of stuff out of it.
The new dice for it look pretty cool. Yeah, that's the mock-up for it.
Galaxy dice.
Yeah.
I don't really know how I feel about like the blue dice, the blue lettering on the purple.
It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, it's super casual.
Dice are weird. I was about to say mice are weird.
Hey, don't say that about Squeaka.
Dice are weird because it's like everyone has so many dice. Like to add dice as like a goal seems weird because it's like how many more dice do you possibly need?
I don't know. I only have like 3 sets.
I had to upgrade my storage for dice.
When I moved, I got rid of most of my dice.
I think it could be all right. You know, it looks not completely unique, but I mean that's okay. It's got cool tropes, cool ideas.
Yeah.
I actually have a 5e space opera game that they released a couple of years ago. It's called Dark Matter. That one's pretty fun too.
That was originally an alternity setting in 2nd edition.
It was.
Yeah. I have the Alternity book.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Let's see.
So apparently, this is the lowest end that you can pay to just get the hardcover copy. It's like $55 for hardcover plus PDF, which I guess $55 for a hardcover book isn't too bad, really.
How many pages is it? Or do they say?
I have no idea what the page count is. I'm assuming it's going to be fairly big because they've got 100 monsters.
Yeah.
Jeez, they're going to have art for each one. Probably
Custom
not.
spaceship design with rules for travel and combat. So like ship combat.
It sounds like what's the game? What's the big game right now? Or what's that expensive game they're still working on?
I don't know.
Oh, Star Citizen.
Star Citizen, yeah, that's what it sounds like. Star Citizen.
Oh, that one.
That's still not released and it's still embedded and not. Yeah. I mean that game.
yeah, that game.
We're like coming up on what, a decade now?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Almost 15 years. I'm pretty certain.
I'm kind of a snob. I'd go for the $125 one just so I could get the dice and the hardcover copy of Starseeker's Guide to the Drakenstar.
I'll keep you do that when I do my Kickstarter.
Yeah, same here. I mean, we're going to be milking you.
It's one of those things where, like, before I put money
you better have a $125 tier then, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'll have the t-shirt historian tier.
But it's hard to throw cash on this without seeing the rules and seeing how it plays. That's my one thing. Like, well, I could do that, sure, but like, how's that thing play?
Well, that's with anything though. If you knew how to play it, then you wouldn't need to book.
With lasers.
Yeah, see, I agree. You need to have some examples there in the Kickstarter about like what it's about rules-wise, because war only goes so far.
Like, at least have a YouTube video where you and 3 players are kind of showing off how the game works. People go, oh, I see. You don't give out the entire curtain call, but you get a little peek of the flesh of what's going on.
You want to have them work for it, you know.
Yeah.
We're going to do that with our kaiju combat game for sure. We're going to have to make it very rules focused.
Well, you got to think about it. You got to think, how many RPG games are there out there right now? So why should I buy yours? You got to give them something. Like, well, here's what we do different, or here's what's fun, what we think is fun. Here's what we think players are going to enjoy. At least kind of show off, like, oh yeah, you have 4 actions instead of 2. Oh, really? Yeah, and there's ship combat. How's that work? Well, you do this, and this. Kind of show us how it works, because what I'm seeing right now, I was kind of squinting trying to read that thing. I don't see anything that's going to make me go, I should spend money on this. Because, like, okay, well, what is it? You know, like, what does it do? I don't know, but that's my opinion.
Good opinion to have. Strong opinion.
Speaking of that, Greg,
what's that?
Where's your book?
What book?
What book?
What book?
The one I ordered. The one I kickstarted.
It's sitting on my shelf.
Oh, where's mine?
It's coming. It's coming. I've been waiting on bookmarks.
You wanted to keep that? It's coming. Greg got to keep it.
I'll ship it once I have $3. Okay. I'm waiting on. No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't ship it. He doesn't deserve it.
I paid for it. I would think I deserved it.
Yeah, they're going out. It's taking a while because I'm slow and I'm broke, but it's going out.
All I picture is Greg with a book on like a fishing rod trying to dangle it above t-shirt. Oh, you almost got it. You almost got it there. Come on.
Oh, so close.
When you do get the book, you're not going to be disappointed.
I don't think so. You already put the PDF out, didn't you?
Oh yeah, PDF went out several months ago.
Well, I didn't
read it because I didn't want to spoil it. But
yeah.
But I know I got an advanced preview of most of the stuff in it. And I'm just kind of like, I'm excited for it, even though I never really played this edition. But
hey,
I might actually start.
Man. Hey man, where my book at, man? Hey, where my book at, man?
Bitch, where my book at?
Bitch, come on, man.
I have my copy, but I only got the PDF. So
I gave you cash, man. Where's my book at, man?
Victor's gonna
be like when Stewie beat up Brian, that Family Guy.
Yeah, Victor's gonna be the last to get his because he's in a different country and that's shipping us like $30.
Man, where's the book at, man?
Yeah, he's gonna light him on fire next. Oh my god!
Did anybody catch Grimm's his review of Spelljammer?
No.
Yes.
I haven't watched it yet. No.
I did, and because I watch everything Grimm does just to support my buddy.
You watched
tell us, what did you see?
The point.
Well, it's funny. He used almost the exact same line I did because he was pointing out the Hadozi, and he was saying, "Yes, my copy still has the problematic text written." And I was like, "Yes, the racism is still intact in your copy."
Don't worry, boys. Racism still intact. Wikiface.
Yes, yes. That's 15, 20 years from now, that's probably how I'm going to sell it on eBay. It's like, this is a copy of Spelljammer for 5th edition, racism intact.
Racism intact.
Dude, you should market it. This is the racist edition. It's going to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, it's like that old werewolf. That's like that old Werewolf the Apocalypse volume where you can play as like the neo-Nazis and stuff.
Oh yes,
that was just an entire clan.
Racist edition. It's like
whole clan.
It'll be like the Song of the South for D&D books.
You guys see those other clans to play? I thought that was like the only clan you played.
I only played as Fenris, guys. So yeah.
Get a Fenris or the neo-Nazis.
They're the only ones I would play as.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Free clan hoodie with every purchase.
Why is this hoodie hood so tall? You know.
You have to work your way up to those.
Extra starch in the
extra starch, exactly.
Oh my gosh. We're losing viewers.
I heard the leader is called,
by the way.
Dragon.
Yeah, he's called Biden. It's the Biden, the Grand Dragon.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm sorry. I'll behave.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. I did come across a really good Reddit thing. I was going to talk more about this Gizmondo thing. Yeah, Gizmondo put out an article that said why race is still a problem in
Gizmodo.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Because you're
my God.
making it a problem.
I'm going to throw up and then I'm going to disconnect. Okay, see you guys later.
See you, bud.
No, I have a play test here in just a few minutes, hopefully. But if not, I'll be back.
Okay.
I thought you were just trying to find an excuse to just get away from this article. Just like you.
Yeah, Blackwall's waiting for us, so I guess we should probably both.
I think I left some in the oven. I'm gonna have to.
Oh, I saw that post. I agreed with most of it, except for the whole like if you swear about magic, it doesn't work. But yeah.
Yeah, and see, this I thought this was a good take. Where it says that, where it's talking about, okay, I mean, I'm just summarizing here, but for 3rd edition, WotC screwed up and printed too many splat books and had core rules bloat in 3E because they largely avoided any campaign settings. Yeah, that's pretty much true. I mean, the WotC produced campaign settings, I think, were basically, what was that setting that everybody kind of sort of likes with the Warforged and the Shifters and Eberron, yeah. Eberron was about the only one I really remember that was a campaign setting for 3rd edition.
It was the only really original one for 3rd edition, wasn't it? Oh,
yeah.
Ghostwalk.
Yeah. Oh, Ghostwalk? Was it really a campaign setting, though?
It was a city setting, yeah. It was an urban setting.
Okay. I have it. I have it, but I didn't even buy it because of the setting. I just bought it because of the rules. Because I thought it would be interesting to do Ghost Walk instead of, when characters die, they could, kind of come back as ghosts and play the Ghost Walk stuff. But, it talks about now WotC's fixed the problem by essentially making everything core rules while essentially not expanding the core rules, which has gotten us to the point where multiple books in a row have left people observing that there basically wasn't any point in buying the books, which is kind of true.
Yeah, that is true, isn't it?
This is people will aggressively point out that all 5th edition D&D's fantasy Marvel superheroes smash them up. They say things like, it is fine if that is the specific game you want.
Oops.
He says that I think the problem WotC has is that if they refuse to write the rules and tone extensions to make a fantasy high seas campaign setting in space because that isn't backwards compatible with the tone and rules of the core book, sooner or later, people will realize that basically they need to buy products from the competition to play anything with a different tone and rule support for activities other than dungeon crawling with superheroes.
Does this mean I could play this on like my PS1? Is that kind of backwards?
No. We're still talking tabletop RPGs, man.
Oh, okay. No, I'm joking.
I mean, you could like lay the book on top of the PS1 and then you're playing on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See that? That's backwards compatible.
But I thought that was kind of a neat that's a neat take on it, and it's true too, because it's like, we had Greg from Aries on here who had a whole different idea for his 5th edition campaign. That's not dungeon crawling. It says Strixhaven damaged the reputation of D&D because it did. Spelljammer damaged the reputation of D&D because it did. Radiant Citadel damaged the reputation of D&D.
Yep.
Because it did.
They damaged the reputation of D&D because they did not work off the core rules, and WotC was too inflexible to write anything that would work, and published a book that had nothing in it worth publishing. Yeah, I would
also
the same.
I would add on to that they were too afraid of the outrage that would stem from it, even from the original material. And it's just like, listen, you guys, these companies got to understand. Twitter does not reflect real life. The same customers you have, these Twitter customers, these people who are outraged on Twitter are probably not buying the book anyway.
Yeah, I game with 3 other players on a weekly basis, and the other 3 players don't use Twitter at all. I'm the only one of the 3. So, like, if we were all going out and buying books and we were these folks, it would be like I would be the outraged Twitter person who wouldn't buy the book, but the other 3 guys did. You'd still have a win on your hands, WotC. Just saying.
Half of my players are like they're pretty liberal. They watch Critical Role, like all that stuff. None of them have bought any of the new stuff. Like none of them have bought Spelljammers. None of them have bought Radiant Citadel. They have like 0 interest in that stuff. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says basically
they don't reflect the scope of the base, really.
Well, it says basically TSR and 3E made missteps, and now 5E thinks it's going to solve that problem by creating a stagnant ecosystem while still expecting to sell new books that do nothing to expand the stagnant system.
It just sounds like they're making things worse, though.
It really does. I mean, it's like they've already announced that they're going to be doing D&D 1. You will be able to use all the stuff from 10 years ago, but all we're really doing is just adding more stuff, but we're not really adding anything that you need or the changes or anything else. It's all going to be the same game.
Are they relying on folks just to buy things out of loyalty now?
I think so.
I think it's loyalty spending. Yeah, loyalty spending pretty much.
Because more or less, sounds like that's kind of relying on whales. Like, I'll buy your new game, even though I don't really need it and not going to use it. But I'll buy your book. It's kind of like they're like relying on whales, like it's a gotcha game, or like
because it's a lifestyle brand now.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle brand now.
They don't even really believe in their own products, though, because they don't even let that stuff breathe. The moment Radiant Citadel was released, within a week they were already promoting Spelljammer, coming up next.
And the instant Spelljammer dropped, it's like D&D 1 was already stepping all over it.
And if you go on the website right now,
hype their new product.
If you go on the website right now, they're not talking about D&D 1. They're talking about Dragonlance.
Yeah,
are you talking Dragonlance? Oh wow,
Dragonlance already? Really? Already?
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have product burnout by doing this. Like, another book for fuck's sake. Oh, they add a thing. Cool. I just pirate it on.
Yeah, they're going to call it D&D fatigue. Just like Star Wars fatigue.
You know what it reminds me of? How many of you guys have gotten? Everybody. Does you guys have a phone? Doesn't everybody have a phone? No.
Yeah. iPhone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. It's going to be called. Yeah. The next edition is going to be called D&D Immortal.
Yeah. Really. But it almost is that way because it's like, okay, you know how they have the gotcha games and all the mobile games where it's like you're trying to catch the gotcha on one thing, and then they're already announcing a week ahead of time, coming up in the next week we have the
they got a new banner dropping. Yeah, they got another banner and such like that. And I say this is somebody who does play gotcha games, so yeah, they announced a new banner, a new character to everybody's get while you're just trying to work to get the character. While you're spending to roll and get that character before the banner leaves.
Well, we all know how this works is that it burns out your fan base. I mean, that's what it does.
Exactly.
I mean, yes. Like today, I was playing a Clinker army, playing Legion, right? And most of our players are getting burned out from 40K. Like, imagine paying all this money for this book and this rule book and this unit, and then this new thing comes out that invalidates not only your unit, but then the book comes out as well that invalidates your book. You got to buy the new book, and this, if you want to stay competitive, you got to buy this new unit. I mean, it's basically the carrot on a stick business plan. Where, oh, look at this brand new shiny thing. You know you want it to keep the thing trundling forward, but it's got to be worth something at least, or at least like not invalidating everything else. And I hate this whole D&D's a lifestyle thing. That's beyond stupid. But like, they can only you can only hold the carrot out for so long before the horse goes, you know what? I fucking hate this, and he bucks you up.
Yeah, it's not good. It's just just
okay. Wizards of the Coast stinks on ice, and with that, I have to go. Thanks for having me on, like usual. I will see you guys some other time. Later.
Bye, Victor.
Very nice seeing you.
Also, by Simple Modernity. Okay, bye.
There you go.
It's By Simple Modernity by Victor. We're actually overtime, but I just kind of want to, pick at this just a little bit before we go. We didn't really get into the Gizmondo article. I was hoping Grim would be around for it too, but hey, stuff happens, and the article will still be out there for us to pick at next week.
Are you kidding? There'll be like 2 more articles by then we can use.
Oh God, yeah. There'll be at least 2 or 3 more articles by then. Outrage and everything else. And besides, Legion of Myth really picked it over last night pretty good too. So, oh God, Brett Cohen. Even if it came with a free blowjob, I wouldn't buy Apple. Okay.
I mean,
I might.
I mean, he's got a point though, like, because there's nothing new. Oh yeah, we added a single megapixel to your camera. Okay, what's the new phone cost? $700. Fucking what?
I mean, it reminds me of the quote from Tron Legacy. It's like at the beginning of the show, they're just about to drop their new OS, and the guys, what have you really added to the new OS that for the consumers? We put a 12 on the box.
I mean, it's more or less it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got gold on it now, rimmed in gold. What's it do though?
We changed the logo.
Oh, yeah. But like, this can't be the business plan they're going to try and rest their laurels on, right? Because people will only pay money for so long. People will only pay pig, and use the term, as long as they're getting something out of it. I mean, that it isn't a gotcha game. There's no waifus or big titties here. It's an RPG.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what's the chase?
They try to simulate that the RPG is like what's inside. That is the waifu. That is the big titties, and really that it really far from isn't. It's false.
I just find it so weird. Like, there's all kinds of business plans out there for D&D. Well, you just Gizmodo thing, like, oh, the new, like you said, I think one of y'all said they don't let the games breathe. Because I am shocked that they're already doing the whole Dragonlance thing. Like, it's only been a few, like a month since. Well, it has been a month since the fucking the book dropped.
Space Jammer.
Yeah.
So the week that Spelljammer dropped, they did the D&D 1E announcement, and then immediately, like the front page of the Wizards D&D whatever is Dragonlance. Like, they literally didn't even give like one D&D like a day to be the first thing you see when you go onto the website.
Yeah,
this massive desperation, because it's trying to dump this shit out so much this quickly, it's going to suffer on quality, and we've all seen how that goes. Honestly,
well, and not only that, but it's like the one thing that article has kind of made clear. I don't know. I keep referring to it and not showing you guys. I do apologize. If you guys want to read it for yourself out there in the audience,
what's the article?
Here's the link. But basically, from reading through it, the gist of it is the Special Twinkle Troll crowd would like a 6th edition D&D that is completely divorced and devoid of any of the previous history of all of the other editions of D&D. No Greyhawk, no Forgotten Realms, none of that. They want to be completely divorced from that, so that they can start their adventures any way they want to and just make up whatever they want to. It's like, okay, the orcs have no particular background anymore, so if we want to, we can start the game and the orcs are all like a group of bakers who make sweetbreads and have butt sex, and I don't know.
They want to divorce the entire history of D&D so they could play Curse of Strahd 6 more times?
Well, the thing is, they'll do that, and that's literally putting your brand on the fucking gallows, and it's literally going, all right, cool, pull lever, and it's fucking just killing yourself right there on top of the fucking thing.
Imagine having a brand that's lasted 50 years and then going, oh, we don't need any of our history.
Yeah.
I mean, you've lasted 50 years for a reason, guys.
The thing is, it's not a bad thing that they decoupled the +1, +2s from race and put it on backgrounds and jobs. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that should have been done a long time ago.
But
this way you can actually have like an elf.
But as I'm kind of panning down through this article, it's just all Sparkle Dog shit.
Yeah, it is, because it's like, okay, well, they did a bunch of stuff with the race, but it's not enough. We need more. We need more. This isn't enough. We need more. It's not enough.
It's never enough.
It's never enough.
That's the joke. It's never enough.
Give them an inch.
Yeah, and it's not going to stop. At some point, I think the coach is going to have to put their foot down and go, look, guys, we cannot continue to lose money by placating all these people who aren't really buying our products and are just telling us that everything we produce is wrong.
So Linda Codega says that backwards compatibility is holding 1D&D back because it's referencing the old material. So
that's the stupidest take I've ever heard.
Well, the problem is, though, that totally flies in the face of them desperately trying to beg and say, guys, no, it's not 6th edition.
Yeah.
So what they would do is they would probably try and lever off of the Critical Role fan base. They would get Matt Mercer to sing a song and dance. I'm about to be pissed at, by the way, but they would have him do a song and dance and put his name or his face attached to this new D&D and try and use his fan base to keep themselves aloft and out of debt. More than likely, they would use these YouTubers like Critical Role and a few others who are big names. And they'll have to use these people to bludgeon the fans they have into fitting inside this new box. Because if you're a real fan of Matt Mercer, you would definitely love this game we're doing. See, Matt Mercer likes it, and they would have to do that because they'd be divorcing themselves from the overall arc and canon of D&D, all this history of since Gary Gygax first laid pen to paper, and they would have to use these celebrities to do it. And would it work? I don't know, but probably not.
Well, what's part of the thing that's killing it is, because of the OSR movement and people continually pointing out, hey, guess what? Your biggest problem you're having right now is your 5th edition stuff is not compatible with all the old stuff. You're having to literally rewrite everything to fit the new stuff. Whereas instead, if you pick up Castles and Crusades, you can go get your granddad's copy of Keep on the Borderlands and start playing it, and it'll fit perfectly like a glove with no problems. Or older
books.
Yeah, or any of the older books.
Oh my god, this fucking comment section on her article is ferocious.
It's ferocious.
Because she's trying to like argue against the people, and like, no, you are bought. They call her a bought and paid for shill in the fucking comment.
I gotta look at this now.
Oh my god!
Yeah, we could have talked the entire time about that, but I wanted Grim on board for this. But the thing is, like, okay, one of the reasons that 2nd edition was successful was the fact that you could still kind of link it to 1st edition, and there wasn't any real problem playing the two together so much. 3rd edition, it was a little bit more dicey, but you could kind of make it work. There was a little bit of converting here and there, but overall, it kind of worked, sort of. 4th edition, nobody could play that shit backwards. 5th edition, nobody can play it backwards. And now they want to make a 6th edition that is completely and utterly devoid of all of the other previous editions. I'm kind of like, why don't you just build a whole new game and call it something besides Dungeons and Dragons?
They couldn't call it 6. It'd be 1st edition. What the fuck the Sparkle Dog game is? That's what it would be.
I mean, maybe that's what they should call it. Like Sparkles and Stone Trolls or something. I don't know. But it wouldn't be D&D.
So is it just the changes in race backstories that they want, or is it actual numerical mechanical changes that they want as well?
I don't think they want numerical mechanical changes so much in so much as where it affects the races, because their whole thing is bioessentialism, and they don't want to have any one race that has more of an advantage over another, and they don't want one race to have specific traits that say, okay,
if the core mechanics numbers aren't really changing, then you can say whatever the fuck you want. You can have pink flying elves or whatever the hell, as long as the core mechanics just say whatever you want. Anyone can have whatever race above or below another race. I mean, I understand the frustration of a lot of this, but again, just if it's all modular and the core numbers are the same, all the details is, to me, it's just fluff. This saying one thing, this person saying another thing.
Well, you'd think so, but their whole argument is that, of course, every single race that is in the books right now was somehow cribbed from or inspired by real life races. Be it Mongols or Chinese or Africans or whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter what the race is. They'll point a finger at it and say, oh, that is based on this particular people.
They're using based and not inspired. That's the issue.
Right. I mean, they even pointed out the Vistani, which are supposed to be, the gypsies of Ravenloft, which, everybody's like, oh no, that's horrible. That's the Romani. And I'm kind of like, yeah, but they're not the actual Romani from our world. They're Romani living in
the original edition of Ravenloft, they were explicitly called the gypsies. So yeah, they are.
They were, yeah, but that was first edition.
Well, thing is, even then, the Vistani race, were they ever negative about it?
Yeah, they were. Yeah. They were every bad stereotype of the Romani you could think of.
They were.
Yeah, they were pretty fucking racist.
They were, but orcs, nobody ever. Until I got to Twitter, I had never heard that they were equated with black people.
If anything, the orcs would have been the Huns.
I would have thought so.
Yeah.
Hey, lovely Jerry.
Well, whatever stupid shit they come up with nowadays, they can never take away the past editions and the books that you guys already have, and you can still play.
No,
they can never take that away.
Yes, there is that.
As long as we have physical media, yeah, they can't ever take those things away. But that's the thing; they're moving towards digital.
Yeah, which is why they're going digital. So if someone goes back, they go beep, boop, boop, and removes it, and you have no access to that old section. You have to try and save it somehow on a Wayback Machine or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's the internet. Once it's on the internet, it's out there for everyone. It's going to get passed around.
Well, yeah,
but the normal user doesn't have access to it.
Yeah, they can still try and control what's going on and control the media that you're trying to digest. And it's just the intent, which is already kind of a sour taste in one's mouth. In fact, it's like if they never try it, then there'll be an outlier of the current stagnant system. But if they go, well, we're going to change a little thing here, and once they break past that gate, it's just a huge downhill slope from there. Because what's going to fucking change?
Yeah.
And plus, if you look at it even from outside the world of TTRPGs, it's an archival issue.
Yeah.
You should have access for the history of the hobby to the history of the hobby.
Well, we did until Fox decided the Trove was bad.
The Trove fucked up when they started, putting ads and talking about it on social media. It's not. I hate Daniel Fox, but it's not just him. He wasn't the only one there.
That bastard. I'm really surprised that nothing has showed up to replace it yet. But
there's torrents and a Discord server.
Oh,
you didn't hear that from me.
There's torrents. Yeah.
No. There's they've put the entire Trove website on torrents.
Oh wow. Okay.
Jeez.
Nice.
Or Telegram groups, but again, you never heard any of this from me.
Of course not.
I still, above all, think it's fucking stupid that D&D is, or even just TTRPG. Why is there so much drama in this shit in the first place? It's like it shouldn't even be here.
Because of the '90s, when all the theater kids got involved with Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah.
I think this
as a theater kid in the '90s, that's what it is.
I think in part it does get back to what I was pointing out on your podcast, Guard, is that it's the fact that this is all story driven, whereas war games don't have that same issue because that becomes about the hard crunchy numbers of moving entire armies around, whereas this is about specific characters having their stories.
You're probably right.
It's about your dudes, and they want everything to be about their dudes.
Yeah.
If they outlaw the Wayback Machine, we're all fucked, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it's on the chopping block sooner or later.
It's going to be a big Fahrenheit moment for sure, I'll tell you that much.
That's why, archive to hard media, buy your Blu-ray players and recorders and your Blu-ray discs and just hard copy everything to your
Buy your
Blu-ray
Cadillac 8-track players and get it all set around.
I do actually have an 8-track player. So.
You probably have the one from when you were a little kid, you old bastard.
I do. The white plastic has turned yellow, but it still works.
Nice.
What do you mean by 8-track player?
Like an actual 8-track player. I still have my old Kiss 8-track too.
It's what they had before cassettes, Ash.
Yep. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Way before cassettes.
Okay, Ash, a cassette is...
I know what a cassette is, okay?
You see, a VHS player is a giant tape.
There was a dark period between cassettes and vinyl. That was the 8-track.
Right.
In the dark days before cassettes, there was the time of the 8-track player.
Ash, do you know what a beta is?
A dark time, a love time.
I've heard of it, not really. So I've had it explained to me, but I
What
can't
about
remember
laser
it.
discs? Have you ever seen them?
I've heard of them. Not really. My knowledge of old physical media is cassette tapes, VHS, floppy disk.
What size floppy disk?
Yeah, how big? Because they used to be huge. Yeah, and reel-to-reels.
The regular ones you got on Windows 98 PCs.
So
yeah.
This article, this comment section is a fucking radioactive wasteland. Good Lord.
Oh my god!
It's scrolling down, you're like, what the fuck?
So it's worse than YouTube comments.
Well,
I didn't get to the comments. I couldn't even finish the article.
There's a guy in here there's a guy here who's totally sipping for this Linda Kodega, and the guy goes, "She's not gonna fuck you" in the fucking comments section. I was like, oh my god!
Oh, fucking love it.
I love it.
But it's all
99 replies.
The problem is white people being racist. I'm like, you're not wrong.
As a white person, yes, I am the problem.
The porn industry preferred VHS, so that's history. Yes, that's true.
The exact same thing.
I remember 8-inch floppies.
It really is odd how, just one side, the normal side, shall we say, didn't give a fuck. There's a guy, I was telling Ironcaster, there's a black chef who made his own pancake mix, and he put his face on the pancake mix box. I think it was Terrence Williams or Terrence Smith, and he goes, "Hey, I have new pancake mix set." And he put the post on Facebook. Facebook flagged it as racist and took it down.
Oh yeah, you remember Famous Amos Cookies?
Yeah, Famous Amos, yeah.
Famous Amos was a black man who created his cookies and everything. His company got bought out from under him, and guess what? He no longer appears on his box.
But it's just
he's dead now. But
it's funny how at no point did a corn-fed blue-collar guy go, "I don't want to buy no Aunt Jemima syrup." They was like, "Oh fuck yeah, Aunt Jemima," and they buy that shit.
This is also true just to passerby, which is why I'm still happy that I have my Spelljammer with racism intact for future generations to read.
Yeah, Grandpa, tell us about the monkeys.
They forget how. This is really weird to say, but they forget how welcoming racist communities actually are.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Tell us about the monkeys.
Tell us about the monkeys. Tell us about the time when you played racist monkeys. Oh my gosh!
Well, Billy, you wouldn't believe the amount of shit we threw.
Yeah, we really need to get a group together and just play the worst racial stereotypes.
Well, so this is before the Great Locust War of 2037, but it was a dark time, really.
We'd have to play the worst game ever too. That we'd have to play Fatal or something.
I have both editions of Fatal on PDF. I also have Ramoa. I have Wraithulu somewhere. I collect bad RPGs.
Yes, you do.
So Mecca,
but do you have Thirsty Sword Lesbians?
No, it's not for him.
I don't. It's not for me. Yeah, that's right. Fatal was clearly aimed at me.
It's not for him. Oh my God, Gardbrowski. Terrence Williams. Holy shit.
So yeah, it was Terrence Williams' Cousin T's pancake mix, and it's got flagged as racist by Facebook. Like, what's the problem with having a black dude's face on a product? like, like there are guys in the Klan who use Aunt Jemima's fucking syrup, for God's sakes. Like no one cared.
It was good. It was good. It's good.
It was good syrup.
It's good syrup.
They don't care unless that. I mean, look at they did the same thing with Land O'Lakes butter. They took the land and got rid of the Indian.
Yeah, that is the funniest fucking part of the whole thing.
Oh man.
Lord.
How do you feel about that, Ironcaster?
There's some old wounds.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I want to end on a high note. Let's end on a happy note. I know it's hard to with this crap. We started on a happy note because we were talking about Edgerunners and we were mostly happy with that. So we'll kind of end with that too. My understanding is CD Projekt Red will be continuing to support the Cyberpunk franchise, so there will be a Cyberpunk 2 at some point. Really? I don't know when. I mean, I would kind of prefer not to be in my 60s when it comes out.
So it's got to come out in like 6 months then.
Oh boy, a new Cyberpunk game! Chancellor, get my choppers! Oh, the arthritis. I wish I could play it.
I'm 49 right now. If it takes them another 12 or 13 years to make it, I will be in my 60s.
I mean, it is CD Projekt Red, so...
Yeah, but I do want them to get it right, on the other hand. I don't want to be like 65 years old, booting up the machine and it being all glitched out and shit. Oh my God, am I having a stroke? So, yes, Doug Wolf and Edgerunners.
Shirley, I can see the light. It's beautiful and multi-tone.
I hope I'm around.
I mean, let's be real. The next Cyberpunk game should probably be, some sort of neural interface.
Here's the thing. I don't think the turnaround time on another Cyberpunk game will be that long, to be quite honest.
But the game is by CD Projekt Red, so it might be.
It doesn't matter, because look, they have the world built. They have the engine. They'll upgrade the engine, of course, but they have the world built the way they want it. So they've got the layout for everything. They've got a lot of the design and everything like that. That's probably not going to change much. So all it'll be is tweaking of the AI, building in the stories, working with the new engine.
Adding in more glitches because it's CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, it's CD Projekt Red. But anyway.
It is CD Projekt Red.
Anyway, yeah, there's still hope for the future, guys. Edgerunners is a good thing. Well, not everything coming out of media is bad. House of the Dragon, good so far.
Well,
I mean,
what it's doing is promoting those to actually make their own content and actually push past the current narrative.
Yes. Eric July, support Eric July, support all these other guys who are independent creators who are doing their own thing. Avoid corporation.
You're racist, though.
What? Why? Because I'm supporting Eric July?
No. you missed it. You missed it. Never mind.
I did. I'm sorry. So until next week, bro. Until next week. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to use this. If I'm going to use this opening all the time or not. So I may just go ahead and get rid of it after this week from Edgerunner. Okay, so
next week we'll go back to our 30-minute intro.
Yes, we'll probably go back to our 30-minute intro for next week. So for now, everyone.
Called Guard Bro? No, not Guard Sis.
What? Good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.
Feel the rhythm of the streets, neon lights and neon dreams. Bloody face, they feel no pain when there's so much more to gain. Hunting season, if you will, tell me where'd you rather be? I can hardly see the moon, but we'll get there pretty soon. Trying so hard to release you out of the misery. Hold on to your wishes if you can't hold on to me. Forgive me for letting you down. Forgive me for letting you down again. I guess I'm not strong enough right now. I'm not strong enough right now. Forgive me for letting